Hello and welcome to Rotten Reviews, and today things start to go a little bit more back on track. The life occurrences that I've been experiencing are not going away possibly ever, and that's fine. It's not a bad thing, but what it does mean is that I am incorporating these new elements into my schedule, and what this means for you in practical terms is that there will be 3 videos coming out this week. Production quality notwithstanding, I'm still figuring that part out. But regardless, this starts today with this video, which is a patron request coming from patron Catherine, who wanted me to watch and review the 2019 movie Satanic Panic. Story by 𝗘𝗾𝗂𝗶𝗽𝗺𝗀, screenplay by Grady Hendrix, and directed by Chelsea Stardust. This movie follows the character of Sam as she is a pizza delivery girl. Well, it's at least her first day, and her last delivery of her first day takes her to the mansion-filled homes on the hill. And in doing so, she basically is just having one run of bad luck after another, and it all caps off with her having no gas money and getting stiffed on her tip, which leads her to basically going into the house and saying, "What the hell? I need money." Unfortunately for Sam, she does kind of find her way inside of, well, a satanic ritual. And also, unfortunately for Sam, they are looking for a virgin. Theirs fell through, and it seems that she fits the bill. So now she not only doesn't have a tip, but she also has a big target on her back as she flees, and a game of cat and mouse ensues with a group of cultist Satanists running after her, trying to get her to good and sacrificed, and she not wanting that to happen. Now, when asked why Catherine picked this movie out for me, she said, "Because it was a lot of good, stupid fun, and I think you'll get a kick out of it." So, yeah, I did. I absolutely agree. This was a lot of good, stupid fun, and I did get a kick out of it. This had a really vibrant energy to it, a bit of a frenetic tone that had very snappy, sharp dialogue, and overall, I enjoyed it quite a bit. This was a romp. This was a great popcorn flick. If you're looking for something just fun and mindless on a Friday night as far as a horror movie goes, I do recommend 2019 Satanic Panic. But just like my jeans, there is a big but in there. It's kind of interesting. I get this question a fair bit in why sometimes the words that I speak about a movie tend to kind of betray the score that I give the movie. And I mean, sometimes I'll be talking, like a big game about a lot of fun and so forth, but then the score comes out and it's, pretty low. And, that usually falls under the category of good, bad movies with that case. And the reason for that is because the scores are meant to be my objective evaluation of the film itself, from start to finish, beginning credits to end credits, and never anything outside of that. So if it's the third movie in a trilogy, I'm not grading it based on the previous 2. It's just simply my objective score of that film. However, the things that I want to talk about sometimes betray that. I will want to talk about the first 2 movies of the trilogy and how this vibes with it. So in this case, what I want to talk about does betray the score, because the score is going to be somewhat high. I actually really enjoyed this film, and I thought that it had a lot of good technical merit. However, there was something that was bugging me as I was watching it, and it took me a little while to kind of really nail it down. There's the argument that gets made with movies in general, and a lot of art really, that there's no new ideas anymore, and I don't really subscribe to that. I point you to the Daniels films as a good counterpoint. As I was watching Satanic Panic, there was another movie that sprung to mind, and once it did, I just couldn't shake it. And I have to say that this film really stands on its own. It's a unique, original story. It's not a remake. It's not, a rip-off of anything. Plot points, tonal elements, and so forth. This really does stand on its own. It is its own movie. But just kind of pulling back a little bit, and to kind of maybe get a little bit philosophical here, if we were to kind of look at the soul of the film, I did see some similarities with a movie that did this a whole lot better. Because as I was watching Satanic Panic, I just couldn't help but think that this is a movie about a fish out of water kind of situation with a protagonist, in which we have subtextual overtones, I'll stick with it, of classism, of the haves and the have-nots, and the distinct, let's just say, ritualistic elements that operate underground that allow those two categories of classism kind of things to exist, culminating in a bonkers ending sequence. And of course, I'm talking about the 1989 movie Society, which if you haven't seen it, I heartily recommend. It is one of the most fun, bonkers 80s horror movies in existence. But once I got that kind of soul correlation of these two films combined in my head, I really couldn't remove it. So, it was just difficult for me as I was watching Satanic Panic because I was having fun. I was enjoying it. The characters were vibrant and things were going off the rails in a very delightful way. But when it's coming to the ending sequences, and I'm not going to spoil anything, but when it's coming to the ending sequences and we're having, big rituals and so on, and things are going the way of, mayhem, I just couldn't help but compare it to the shunting from Society. And can anything in the world ever compare to that? This is a situation in which I'm not finding any kind of plagiarism, but I am finding a spiritual kinship. And in that, I couldn't help but also find a comparison that I just couldn't get out of my head. And in that comparison, I really don't think that Satanic Panic could hold up. And that's not fair to the movie. And that's exactly why my words are meeting a discrepancy with the score, because the score is what this movie deserves. Again, beginning credits to end credits and nothing outside, including a movie from the 80s. I do, again, recommend Satanic Panic. I think it's a wild little ride that's a fun popcorn flick for a Friday night. But I still just couldn't help with the comparison. I couldn't get it out of my head. And just like a little jingle from a commercial that turns into a mind splinter, it just kept digging its way further and further into my brain the more I watched this movie. So although I did have fun, I just couldn't help but feel like, in a spiritual, soulful sense, a movie that came out well over 20 years ago did this a whole lot better. So there we go. That feels like more of a ramble than a review, but I'm sticking with it, and I am going to go ahead and get ready for work now. So thank you very much for joining me here today on this video. I look forward to seeing you on Wednesday with my next review, and until then, remember, next time you want to watch a horror movie, first make sure that it's good and rotted.